Sean Zittel, FightHype.com, here with the former undisputed super lightweight champion of the world, Josh Taylor, or as people in Scotland lovingly refer to him, Josh Taylor. Was that okay, Josh?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's better than my American attempt, that's for sure.
Well, Josh, man, how personal of a fight is this with Jack Catterall? Is this guy stoking, extra competitiveness inside of you?
Yeah, it's a little bit of personal dislike and just a little more competitiveness as well, and to put the doubt to bed, and I don't really particularly like the guy, the way he handled the fight after it and the way he moped and moaned and, oh, feel sorry for me, and just all that kind of nonsense. It's just that he's not a kind of guy that I would, certainly go for a pint for down the pub with, so it's not a kind of guy that I would generally hang around with. He's quite ratty.
I think in his perspective, he thinks he's got an edge psychologically heading into this fight. He thinks he won the first fight. He thinks you didn't want the rematch initially, the injuries and whatnot. And how do you take that edge he thinks he has away from him?
I don't really take it. And the guy isn't very clever. He's not got much brain power, that's for sure. He has to have people telling him what to say and what to think at the right times. And we've been through the same thing in terms of trying to get the rematch made and stuff, and he still just doesn't seem to understand it. He still comes to this conclusion that I'm running away from the fight, even though I was the one who tried to make it, giving up belts and to make sure it happens and all that carry on, and faking injuries and all that carry on. It's just like, come on, pull yourself together, man.
You,
So
well,
yeah, the guys, I don't know what they say about him. I don't really like the guy, that's for sure.
how are you feeling? Just as a fighter heading into this fight, though, it's the first time in maybe like half a decade you're not heading into a fight as a champion. And there's just a lot of questions about if Josh Taylor's still in his prime, still the fighter that became undisputed. So how are you feeling heading into this fight, Josh?
I'm cool. I know I'm good. I know what I'm producing in the gym, and I know how I'm performing, and I know what I can do. And people have been so used to me putting on top draw performances for so long that that's what they expect. It's like since 2013, I haven't lost the bout since 2013, leading up to the fight with Teal. Winning Commonwealth Games as a gold medalist, and qualifying for the Olympics. The first person from Scotland to qualify for the Olympics in over 30 years, and things like that. And then winning titles and becoming world champion in 15 fights, and ununified. People that used to be producing this goods, that when I have an under par performance, I'm finished. It's like, what? You've had one loss in 11 years, 12 years, and you're finished. It's like, come on, guys. Cut me a little bit of slack here. You have a little bit of a dip in performance every now and again. I'm pretty sure 10, 11 years is a good run and a good kick at the ball for not having a defeat.
It is a good run, but when you became undisputed, you were still in your late 20s. Now you're married, probably made a lot of money, done some good things. So just how do you summon the same hunger that as a guy, a Jack Catterall, who hasn't made the money and hasn't won the belts you have, and how do you match his hunger in this fight?
If that was the way my mentality and that was the way I was driven and wired up, I'd retired a long time ago. For money and this and that. Like I'd retired a long time ago. I retired when I beat Ramirez. So that's me. I've become world champion. I've got a good bit of money in the bank, a few quid in the bank. I'm off scam. See you later, lads. But I'm super competitive. I know what I can do. I know what I can produce, and I know what I can do when I'm not making mistakes, overlooking my opponent, which is what I've done. I thought I'd learned that lesson from other fighters making that mistake. So he overlooked him. That's the first rule of combat and the art of warfare is never underestimate your opponent. But when you had that level of success that I had in such a short period of time, you're only human, and you are going to get a little bit of that complacency when Jack Catterall, no disrespect to the guy, I'm not being disrespectful, but Jack Catterall Who's he beat? His best performance was, or best win was against Harrow Davis, a guy who absolutely blitzed away, in second gear. It's like, just get fit, I'll beat this guy, no problem. And that's where the mistake was. And that's where I almost paid for it.
So you feel like you're going to be a much better fighter heading into the rematch than fight number one. Is that right, Josh?
Absolutely, because you're a fool if you make the same mistake twice.
Well, in that first fight, it seemed like the number one thing he was having the most success with was on the outside with the left hand. Yeah, what would you agree with that? And I know you can't give away game plan, but what could you give me on why in a rematch he's not going to land that left hand on the outside as frequently as he did in fight number one?
Because I'm not the same fighter. I'm not with a coach that's trying to completely change my style of fighting. I'm not overlooking this guy, and I'm not coming in way heavy and doing the weight cut at the last minute to make the weight and completely deplete myself and weaken myself. From the very first bell, my legs were like jelly. I never had the strength and the stuff I could see the shots coming, but I couldn't get out of the way because my legs wouldn't allow me because I was knackered. I took the weight off at the last minute, and that's what done it. And I was sort of cheating on my diet. I had the nutritionist and all that, but he was making my meals. And then I'll say, I'm going for a walk. And then I'd be a walk and I'd be around to the chippy getting something to eat and all that, and it's like just being stupid, in terms of the overlooking your opponent, that mistake, the mental side of things. I'm very, in sport and in boxing, it's 80-20 in terms of percentage of mental and physical. If this is right, the physical side of it takes care of itself. You need to get this right first.
Why did you choose to have the fight stay at 140 when you're a real tall guy and you've talked about going up to welterweight for years now?
Yeah, I spoke about going up to welterweight. I've said it in early interviews in my career as well. I believe I'm a career 140 pounder, really. And I've confirmed them beliefs with my nutritionist guy who's at the university in Liverpool, done all the blood tests, done all this test, the oxygen levels, the hydration level, water, and all that, all these tests, and I've confirmed my belief as I'm a career 140 pounder. I always talked about moving up to welter because to achieve more greatness in the sport, become a second weight undisputed world champion, something that only Terence Crawford has done in the men's sport. So it's like, okay, become the second guy to do it ever, and put your name in the Hall of Fame. That's the goals, and it still is a long-term goal to move up to welter and become a two-weight world champion.
How long do you think you're staying at 40?
We don't know. We'll see what happens. Cross that bridge till when it comes to it. I'm thinking about April 27th, fighting Jack, beating Jack, moving forward. If there's another big fight that comes at 140, then and I tickle it and it tickles my fancy, I'll take it. But if not, I'll move up to welter and start my campaign at welter. But when I move up to welter, I won't be coming back to 140, because I'll be on, the strength program, a lot more weight training to gain muscle and gain strength. So then I'm already, at the limit of what I can do in terms of size wise and strength wise at 140. So if I put on any more muscle, it makes it hard to then make the weight. Then I will be depleting myself and put myself at a disadvantage. So once I move up to welter, I won't be coming back to 140. That's for sure.
I already know, Josh, your mentality is thinking all about winning this fight, obviously. But is this a do or die fight? Is this a fight where it's like, if I can't beat Jack Catterall, maybe it's time to move on in life? Thoughts on that?
Well, it's a difficult question, because I'm not thinking about getting beat, but it's like it is hard to go into these championship fights if that does happen. But then again, if that does happen, you've also got a rematch with him again as a trilogy. So it'll be one each. You know what I mean? So it's then it whets the appetite for a third match. So, but listen, all this chat that if I lose I retire, like, come on, man. It's a rivalry. It's what the sport's about. it's what the sport's about, rivalries. So just because you lose a fight that you finished, no, but it makes it difficult to then challenge for a title straight away again. You have to go to a rebuilding sort of stage and job again. So yeah, but I'm not thinking about that. But all this talk of retirement, if I lose, then I don't think that's the case.
Does his style, because him and Tio, they basically try to counterpunch you a lot, take advantage of you wanting to be aggressive. Is that something you got to make adjustments for? Is that a style that is difficult to deal with at times, or yeah, just your thoughts
Not
on it?
really, not really. It was just my mentality and the way I was thinking at the time. So yeah, I'll be making adjustments and I'll be making changes to the first fight. I mean, I'm not going to give away what we're working on and stuff, but yeah, we're working on things and it'll be a different fight.
Just want to ask about, of course, a couple other big fights at 40. Devin Haney, who I know you spent some time in the gym with when Ben was working with both of you at the time, fighting Ryan Garcia. Thoughts on that fight? Do you got your eye? Are you thinking at all about?
Yeah, I'll be watching it because as a boxing fan, I think it's a great fight. They've been talking about fighting each other for a number of years and all that. So yeah, I think it's a good fight between two good fighters, two very talented fighters. Close fight, but I think Devin Haney's the superior boxing brain in that fight and the more well-rounded fighter. So I believe that Devin Haney wins that fight.
Would you be open to fighting Haney if you both should you guys both win your next fights, or is that a thing where you guys are kind of friends, or how would that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't really know him, to be honest, and even if it was my friend, yeah, I would still fight him. Like I'd fight anybody. I'd fight with my own shadow. I'm that kind of guy. I'd cause a fight in an empty house. So it's like, yeah, I'd fight him. I'd fight him absolutely no problem. And there is a potential that maybe fight could come around at some point. So yeah, absolutely.
Did you two ever come close to sparring while in Vegas?
No, I don't think I've actually ever even met him properly in person. I think maybe once briefly. But yeah, I've met his dad a couple of times. His dad's pretty cool. And yeah, but yeah, I
That's who
mean,
had me thinking you guys were friends was Bill. The way Bill would talk about you back in.
no, I mean, he's had good things to say about me, and I've got good things to say about Bill. I've only met Bill a couple of times, and I respect them, and I respect what they're doing and what they're about. So I respect them as both as a man and as fighters. So yeah, I respect the guys.
Well, I was curious initially because I thought you did spend more time with Devin than it turns out you have. I wanted to see how you'd assess a fight with him and Tio because you fought Tio, and I thought you were a little more familiar up close with Haney. But do you have a favorite in that fight if it happens someday?
Yeah, I think I'd probably favor Devon. To be fair, I just think he's more skillful and more composed. I mean, I know like the fight, I wasn't great in the fight against Tio either, but I still felt that I won 5 rounds out of the 12. I won the first three. I think I had a good eighth, and I definitely won the 10th. And I was like, right, okay, I've got 5 rounds here. If I can get these last 2 rounds, I can get the win or the draw or keep my belt. But I lost the last two, so I knew I was beat. But the whole fight, I was never in trouble. I was never felt like I was I can't deal with this guy. It was just like my legs were dead and I couldn't get out of the way. I could see what he was going to do coming, but my legs wouldn't allow me to move. So yeah, it's just one of them things. He was better than me on the night, but in terms of the boxing and what he does, and like I just think Devin Haney is the cuter of the two.
What was up with your what happened with your legs in the Lopez fight and just in the Lopez fight?
I don't know, I don't know. Just on the night, I didn't turn up on the night, and he was better than me on the night, and that's all I can say. But if it was the best version of myself, beats Teofimo Lopez.
You think you ever get that fight again? Or
I
do you
would
want
like to
that fight
think so,
again?
yeah. I'd like to think so, man. I would love to revisit that fight. I know he was my mandatory, but I did him the favour and going over to his backyard in Madison Square Garden with my belt as the champion. So it would be good to get that fight done again. Obviously getting through April 27th, but get that fight done again, but bring him over to Scotland this time, make a stadium fight at Edinburgh, in Edinburgh, Easter Road, Hibs ground. So yeah, that would be great.
But it all does start, April 27th in Leeds against Jack Catterall. And here comes a real cliche question for you, but I think it does pertain to this fight. Are you trying to make a statement to the division, to Catterall, man to man, and to yourself in this fight, Josh?
Well, listen, I need to put in a good performance. It's like then it's like 3 fights in a row. He ain't great, and it's like, oh, So I know I need to perform here, and I need to put on a good performance. So, yeah, but I put no pressure on myself. Like I believe in my training and my preparations this time. I'm injury free and everything's great. So yeah, I'm fully focused and I'm confident that I'm going to produce the goods.
It's on his turf this time. Do you got to make it? Do you got to win 8 or 9 and not just 7 out of 12 to get the decision this time in his
Oh,
hometown?
no, I believe the judges will be fair as they were in the first fight. So I believe that will be good. As long as I put in a good performance and leave a real dominating performance, that leaves no questions. So yeah, I've not really got any fears.
Well, before I let you go, Josh, while I got you, let me get your top 5 140 pounders of all time. And yes, you can include yourself. You can include yourself.
Okay, me, and me.
You gotta give me 4 other guys. You gotta give me 4
Uh, no, I like Sugar Ray Leonard. I think he was great. I thought he was brilliant.
He was 47 though, Josh. He wasn't a 140.
No, but he was light welter when he started. Didn't know when his first title at
He
140.
won the gold medal at light welter. He did win the
You
gold
know when
medal.
he's got a title at 140 as well, no?
I think it was Benitez at 47 for the WBC.
Was it? Okay, yeah. Right. Okay then. Light welterweights. You obviously got to say one of them, Terence Crawford, because he was undisputed champion there. One of my favourites and one of my childhood heroes was Ricky Hatton. He was good just for pure entertainment wise and ferociousness and fighting. Number 3,
He was fast too.
yeah, he was quick. Number 3, I liked Miguel Cotto as when he was coming up. Before he moved up to welter, I liked Miguel Cotto. Number 4, oh, I don't know.
You
I'm
got
stuck.
Floyd, Manny, Aaron Pryor, Costa Zoo.
Manny Pacquiao, man, like God's sake, you can involve him in anything, any division. He is like my childhood hero was Manny Pacquiao, yeah. And was in this at 4 now, number 5. I'm struggling. To think. Don't know. I don't know. No, I don't know.
That was your chance to put yourself in, Josh.
Yeah, but I could put myself in, but then that's me being a dick. We're talking about the people.
Josh, I appreciate your time, brother. If there's anything else you want to let the boxing fans know before you head out, but thank you for your time. April 27th, you and Catterall rematch, ESPN Plus.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, guys.